Hello everyone. In the 3 basic modules, we explained the important points to keep in mind when starting a startup. Module 1 was about the structure of a pitch deck. Module 2 was about communication when pitching. And Module 3 was about questions frequently asked by investors. There were mini quizzes at each session. Are you confident in answering them? Now, after finishing the basics, we will move on to the Advanced section. The Advanced section is made up of 4 sessions. Session 1 will be about startup globalization, and Session 2 will be about deep tech startups. Session 3 will be about university startups, and in Session 4, we will be hearing from deep tech investors. Today, I will explain startup globalization. Is there anyone who has already started their startup? If your answer is yes, have you already achieved product market fit? The focus is completely different before and after achieving product market fit. If you haven't achieved product market fit, you will have to find the burning needs of your target customer, validate them, create a minimum viable product, sell it to your customers, and then use that feedback to make improvements until you reach product market fit. Many things can happen during this process, and the situation you want to avoid most is making something that no one will use. You may wonder if there are such people, but the biggest reason startups fail is because they offer no market needs. Founders tend to be very attached to their ideals and not listen to opinions from others or read data. They often build their initial products without sufficient validation. They are often too passionate about their idea, and since they have put lots of effort into developing the initial product, it is not easy for them to admit it is not working. If your business is software related, starting over might not be too difficult. However, in the case of deep tech projects, once a project is underway, starting over would cause huge financial damage. So it is very important to involve professionals who are familiar with your target customer's industry from the very early stages. Your job is to create something that people will be willing to pay to use immediately, and not to commercialize your assumptions. If you have successfully validated your customers' burning needs and improved your product multiple times to reach product market fit, congratulations! Every day leading up to this point must have been a continuous struggle, and you must have been disheartened many times. However, now you are busy responding to customer inquiries every day, and your server is on the verge of crashing due to huge demand. So you must surely be feeling the wind at your back. From here on out, step on the gas pedal and ensure your growth. An important part of our growth strategy is global expansion. Unless your business model is specifically tied to a particular geography, you will need to expand globally to achieve the scale of growth that investors want to see. Of course, global expansion requires a strategy. Your strategy needs to be developed from several perspectives, but the most important thing is to choose countries with a large number of potential customers, or in other words, countries with a large market. For example, if your business is in drug discovery or biotech, your potential customers will be the major pharmaceutical companies. So the US, where this industry is the biggest, is essential. Your company will not become a unicorn if it remains in Japan. So you need to set up your business with the US in mind from the early stages. Shohei Ohtani can earn huge amounts of money because he is in America, the home of baseball. His remuneration in the US is incomparable to what he would earn in Japan. On the other hand, if he were a soccer player, he should go to Europe, as going to America would not make sense at all. Thus, be clear about the epicenter of the industry your business is in. Crucially, you should raise funds from a global VC with a proven track record of supporting startups and expanding globally. You should have an equity story that includes global expansion from the very early stages. It is difficult to successfully expand globally without the support of a VC with the necessary network and know-how. And to expand globally, you need to hire the right people. You have to hire great people to build your team, and also manage them to make your team stronger. Hiring to expand your business globally is not an easy task. In the first place, business expansion across borders comes with many challenges that are different from those in your own country, such as product localization and differences in business practices. Therefore, it is necessary to hire personnel with a proven track record and industry knowledge in the country that you are entering, and provide them with the appropriate training and development. The people you want to hire will likely be in high demand from other companies, so you have to convince them to choose your company. Of course, attractive compensation and various benefits are important, but your company is a startup. It is different from a large corporation. So, look for people who enjoy being part of a rapidly growing business, and people who can share your vision and are committed to achieving it together. Even if your company already has a dedicated HR person, it is still your responsibility to recruit for key positions. Even if you successfully hire the right person, that's not the end of the story. You need to retain valuable employees who joined the company because they share your vision. Support their growth with proper guidance and mentoring. This is something that you, the founder, or the founding members should take the lead in. This is a job that should be done by members who fully understand your company's vision and mission. Even if you hire senior members locally, you cannot leave everything to them. They must have sufficient work experience and skills. Even then, they may not be familiar with your company, so the founding members must provide sufficient support. At the same time, it is necessary to create a corporate culture and have it permeate throughout the company. When the founder and a small number of founding members are single-mindedly working on starting a business, corporate culture may be put on the back burner, or they may not even have time to think about it at all. However, as you expand globally, you will be hiring a large number of diverse talents, so it will be necessary for members who have been with you since the company's founding to clearly communicate your company's culture to new members. Things will go smoothly if the founding members embody the corporate culture and values that you want to instill within the company. Be careful, because if you hire someone who has the skills and experience but doesn't fit into your company culture, that mismatch will spread throughout the company and create a very toxic environment. You need to hire people who genuinely empathize with the problem you are trying to solve. Creating and instilling a great company culture is easier when employees understand the importance of the problem that you are trying to solve and are invested in it. Such employees will be the first to say, "Please let me help you with your work." It is important to build a transparent organization where everyone trusts each other and takes responsibility. Here are some things you should not do when expanding globally. That is, starting to think about expanding overseas after developing products for the domestic market. Curating a product for the domestic market means that the team is also optimized for the domestic market. So, in a sense, expanding overseas takes double the effort. In particular, once a product is created for a non-English speaking country, a huge amount of work is required to adapt language-wise. If you want to go global as a startup, from day one, you should set your team, product, and common language for the global market. Now, let us hear from a startup founder who is expanding their business globally. Joining us is Ms. Guan Tian from PetsNet. She is the co-founder and APAC General Manager of PetsNet. PetsNet is the leader in AI-powered innovation intelligence. Its user-friendly platform revolutionizes how IP and R&D teams collaborate across the entire innovation lifecycle, from validating ideas to analyzing the competitive landscape and beyond. Founded in 2007 in Singapore, PetsNet has grown to become a unicorn startup, and today, more than 12,000 global companies across diverse industries, including life sciences, manufacturing, engineering, automotive, consumer goods, law firms, technology, and many more, trust PetsNet to innovate faster with AI. PetsNet started in Singapore. Which country was your next market? What challenges did you face when expanding?
Actually, PetsNet's globalization started from day one.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because we do not have a big domestic market
In Singapore. Oh, okay.
Yes. So the idea of PetsNet was first incubated or first come up during the time where Jeffrey and I were in the United States under Entrepreneurship Program by our
US.
school in US. It's called a US Overseas College.
Yes.
So Jeffrey was interning in a local medical device company. And in that company, his founders asked him to do some research related to patents.
Oh, okay.
That's how he first get to know about the concept of patents. And that's how he had the idea of building a very user-friendly, smart patent search analytics tools that will benefit the researchers. So it was the need that clearly was available in the United States.
Confirmed.
There was a confirmed need. There were many deep tech companies. So any companies from pharmaceutical industry or from automotive industry or medical device, these kind of industries are readily available, very mature in the US. So there is a need for them to make use of the patent information to help their R&D decision making. So with that idea, we founded PetsNet in Singapore. But
Coming back
after the US, yes. However, what we didn't know is Singapore does not have a locally, does not have a big domestic market of deep tech companies. So in order to survive, we had to get out of Singapore from day one.
I see. From day one?
From day one, yes. So the first market naturally for us was the US because we already knew that the US has such a market, has such a need. It's just a matter of can we develop a good product and service to satisfy their needs.
I see.
So that was the first market that we went after. Of course, it was very, very challenging to try to target that market from Singapore.
Yes, from Singapore, right?
Yes. First of all, we were just fresh graduates. We did not have any real industry experience. So we didn't have any contacts in the
I
US.
see.
So we don't know who to look after. How do we reach those people that we want to reach?
Yeah.
And also the industry that we chose, the product that we chose to build was also very difficult. It has a high barrier for entry.
Oh, really?
So yes, it requires a lot of data sources
I see.
in order for the product to be minimally useful.
I see.
So in order to even build the MVP, the minimal viable product, it's a very long journey for us. So basically, by serendipity, we chose the product and industry which was very challenging. Just by itself, it's very challenging even for someone who's based in the US to build such product. And to add on to the challenge, we were doing everything from Singapore.
Yes.
Where there was literally very few potential customers.
I see.
Yeah, so it was very challenging, both from the product perspective as well as from the commercial perspective.
Did the process of global expansion go well? If anything didn't go well, what were the challenges?
Initially, we tried to do everything ourselves.
Oh, okay.
First of all, we didn't have funding. We didn't have money to hire anybody.
Yeah.
So we went to attend some US-based conferences where there's a lot of target customers who gather. We will take the cheapest flight to the US and stay in the cheapest hotel.
I see.
And try to get into the conference. Usually try to get in for free. And try to exchange name cards with many people. And after that, we will came back to Singapore. We will start calling those people.
Follow up.
Yeah, follow up calls or through emails to try to contact, which turned out to be not effective at all.
Oh, Jesus.
The response rate was very low. And when you were calling them from Singapore, such a small country, in the other end of the telephone, they will think it's quite strange.
Yeah.
And we always had to call them at very awkward hours, right? It's usually at the night time of Asian time.
Correct.
Their daytime. So it was very difficult. So we did that for a couple of years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And it was not very effective. And until
How did you guys survive?
Oh, well, we had some Singapore government grant.
iGEM
grant, but that was only 50,000,
I see.
which lasted for half a year.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and afterwards we did some projects. There were some kind professors from the US who gave us a project to do, basically helping the professors to clean data or preparing data to do their research. So we just got by with keeping the cost very low.
Understand.
So the founders were paid next to nothing. We were paid like $600 per month, monthly salary. That was nearly nothing.
Yeah.
Not even enough to rent a room.
In Singapore,
Yes. So anyway, just get by with very low cost while doing some projects until about 2011, 2012. About 2010. That's when we first raised our angel funding.
Oh, great.
So we had some money to start hiring people and to exhibit at the better conferences. And then eventually we had to hire local staff.
Which is great.
To expand the local business.
As your company has expanded globally, have there been any countries where the expansion process went particularly smoothly? What factors do you think contributed to that success?
I think even today is still challenging. I think globalization is no smooth ride at all.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, it doesn't mean that if you have money, you get smooth ride. Of course, if you have more money, you have essentially access to more resources. For example, you can recruit headhunters to help you find people. But even if you have money, but 10 years ago, when we didn't have much experience,
I see.
You could hire the wrong person.
Yes.
It's very difficult to hire the right person. And somebody can be great at working for Oracle, at working for SAP, but can have a disastrous result when they come to work for an early stage startup because it requires very different skill sets.
Very different.
So getting the funding doesn't mean things will get smooth. It just means we have slightly more resources to do things.
So Is this challenge applicable any country like US? Is more difficult in Japan or UK? Is slightly easier, or is there any country any difficulty level? Yeah, kind of.
Well, first of all, I think every country, every market has its unique challenge.
I see.
I don't think any market is easier than others.
Oh, okay.
But definitely there are some cultural aspects of it. For example, in general, in the United States, because there are more venture capitalists and there's more venture capitalist funded startups, and there are many successful tech startup that's founded by young entrepreneurs. In general, people tend to believe young entrepreneurs more compared to in the Asian context, for example.
Yes, I understand.
So I would say, however, because of that, in the US market is also competitive. Means all the talents will go there.
Many people.
There will be many companies might doing the same thing. The best of the competitors are also there. So I wouldn't say it's easier, but at least in the US in general, I think people are more open to new technology, new companies. So you have a chance to impress them and build business with them. While if it's in Japan, where things are more conservative in terms of the entrepreneurship world, maybe things will be harder. So that's why we stayed away from Japan market for many years. Because we know it's challenging.
I see.
So we wanted to wait until we have pretty much perfected our product.
I see.
Before we decided to invest in Japan market. But then the Japan market has its own merit compared to the US. So Japanese customers tend to be more loyal. So it's very difficult to get them to buy your product.
Door open, right?
Yes, but once they buy your product, means they have done very vigorous like evaluation of your product. So they already have certain trust. So usually they tend to stay longer with you. So I wouldn't say there is any market is better than the other market. It's just very different style, different culture.
I see.
Recruitment is important as the company expands globally. What areas are you focusing on?
There are many, of course, when you come to hiring different roles, for example, when you're hiring sales, marketing, finance, it requires different kind of characteristics. But one thing in general we find that works for PassNap, and we believe will work for many early stage companies, startup company, is to hire people who have the entrepreneurial mindset. What I mean by entrepreneurial mindset means that they are willing to take risk, they are resourceful to solve problems, and they are excited by the vision and the possibility of building something. Because when you look at some of the very successful executives from big companies, definitely they have their own strength in making it and being successful in a big company. However, they are also in the environment where the infrastructure is already there. Everything's provided to them. Even people will book their air tickets. And they will fly business class.
Assistant.
And they have nice offices. They can take their clients out for fancy dining. However, in the startup context, we have none of this.
I know that.
So many of our executives who later join PassNap from bigger companies, they have to downgrade. So they used to stay in a 5-star hotel. Now they come to PassNap, they have to stay in the economic hotel. And they used to fly business class, now they fly economy. But we have people who come from those big companies that come to us and works with us well. Those people are the ones who are more adaptable. They care less about the infrastructure. They're more excited by the possibility of having a say or having a control or having a role to play in contributing to the success of PassNap. These kind of things matters more to those people than the infrastructure.
I see.
Yeah, so it just requires different kinds of personality to succeed in different environments.
How did you recruit when expanding globally? Are there any specific recruitment channels that you have been using?
And for our case, actually, we didn't have much referral at the beginning. Again, it's because we were just the fresh graduates, so we didn't have much track record or previous employees or colleagues who can refer. And we were a tiny startup, so
maybe
no
your
one would
university
refer.
friend.
Yeah, which were also very junior then, so it didn't really help. So for us, the initial many years of hiring, we rely heavily on recruiting website. We also didn't have the money to pay recruiters, so we rely on recruiting website. Again, I think this is something different in different countries. For example, I know in Japan, you most likely have to go through recruiter to maybe find
common
talent. But in the US or in Europe, you can use LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's information there.
Correct,
you can just send them a message.
Correct.
So we did most of that ourselves. So during the fast growth period of PassNap, I think I easily spent 70% of my time recruiting. So every day after work, I would send 30 or 50 messages on LinkedIn to the talent. Maybe next 2-3 days, 10% of them will reply.
Good.
And we'll go from there. So we did recruitment ourselves at the beginning for many years.
I see. By yourself.
By ourselves, yeah. And in China, we also have the similar like recruiting websites where you just pay a very little fee, like $20 a month. Then you can send X number of messages to the candidates. So we did that ourselves, again, very low cost approach. Only until we have come to like a recent few years when we have more funding, also when we needed to recruit more senior level executives like CFOs, head of HR. Those people are hard to find directly. Maybe they wouldn't even reply on LinkedIn.
I see.
So that kind of senior candidates, we use recruiters to help us.
I see.
As the company expands globally, a variety of people join. How do you manage a diverse workforce?
I think people management is always probably the most important and the most challenging thing to do. I would say, first of all, there's no one global rule to manage different type of person. And you mentioned different nationality. That I think that implies the different nationality of different culture, working culture. But also even within the same country. The
different personality
is very different. Also many engineers and versus a salesperson.
Very different.
Also very different. So I think there are many aspects of looking at how to manage different type of person. And also there's a difference between management and the leadership. Management is more on basically taking the goal, managing the project, delivering the results, focusing more on the tasks, things. And leadership focusing more on the people.
Correct.
Including do you motivate the people?
Correct.
Do you develop them?
Yes.
To make them more valuable.
Correct.
So something I always like to say to our employees, colleagues, is always that we do not expect everybody to work in PassNap forever. Whether you're working for PassNap for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, it's important that every year you look at yourself, is my market value increasing while I'm at PassNap? Meaning am I learning new things, developing new skills? So if after 3 years you leave PassNap, are there better companies that are willing to pay you much more than when you first joined PassNap? So every one of us can think of us as the product. We need to market ourselves in the market, right? Sell ourselves to the employers.
Yeah.
Or of course you can be an entrepreneur. But
Correct. Yeah.
basically, so leadership also include very importantly is do you develop the skill set, also the mindset of your team members, and do you make them feel secure so they can focus on delivering result rather than worrying about their survival in the environment. So there are many aspects of it. And since for this particular interview, I think your focus is on globalization.
Correct. Startup globalization.
So in terms of the different countries, difference in terms of the working culture, I think one thing we learn, which is very important, is the management style also need to be localized somehow. So at the initial stage as a founders, we have to spend significant time with the local team. To understand the local team, local culture, also understand the customers, understand the environment that our team will face, right? When they visit customer, how is it like? When they try to set up appointments, what kind of challenges they will face, things like that. So, for example, for Japan, currently is my focus. I'm committed going to Japan pretty much once every month. So this year I've been to Japan 9 or 10 times. So it's not a short trip from Singapore, but we have to do that in order to really understand the Japanese culture, visit customer environment, learning Japanese language. So I think all this, I don't expect to be an expert in the Japanese language, but at least making this effort will help me build the context of how it is like in Japan, so that I can be more empathetic with my Japanese colleagues, and I can better evaluate a local Japanese colleague, Japanese employee when I'm doing the interview. So things like that applies to China team, applies to US team or Canadian team. You first of all have to invest time and effort in the local team. Secondly, I think it's important to enable locals to manage and lead locals. Instead of sending someone, like in the past, I think most international companies will send the expat to. I think sending expat is useful in initial stage when it's useful for our case to send expat or employees from the headquarters because this employee has the trust and also the understanding of the company culture. And also he has the relationship with the headquarter people. All these are important to get the overseas new branch or company or organization to work. Like simple things like, for example, some of my Japanese colleagues who just joined, simple things like setting up their pastime account and knowing where to look for sales material they can use and who to look for in terms of understanding of the product. It's very hard for them to know someone in the UK or in China when they're sitting in Japan. So having someone like from the headquarters there, it's helpful. And also someone who has a trust, who also trusts the company and have a kind of embodiment of the company culture can also help the initial team. So I think having an expat or having someone from the headquarters is very important at the beginning. And ongoingly somehow have this channel to facilitate communication and understanding between the headquarter people and the local people, but eventually we strongly believe that you should encourage the local team, I mean groom local leaders or bring local leaders to lead the local team. Some of these cultural elements, it's just very subtle. It's hard to fully understand.
Cannot perfectly understand.
No. It's very challenging.
Okay, fine.
During the process of global expansion, how did you split roles between the co-founders?
Among the founders, we pretty much collaborate.
I see.
Yeah, so for most of the fundraising from the first time, we're always working together. And also because the founders take on different roles. For example, I was mostly in charge of the commercial side.
I see.
And Jeffrey was spending more time on the product.
I see.
So the investor want to know both sides, the sales result, the projection, also want to know the product roadmap.
I see.
So we will work together to to raise funds.
And is there any, pitching to this kind of a global investor is not so easy, right? Did someone introduce Sequoia to you, or do you actually have to knock the door many potential investors?
No, I think we were quite lucky. No, actually for most of the rounds we didn't pitch many investors.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, most of the rounds we pitched less than 10.
Oh, selected.
Yeah, so some of our early investors will introduce later stage investors. And when they see also the early stage investor keep investing in us, it's a good sign that they believe in the company, believe in the team. So luckily we didn't have to pitch many VCs. I know some startup maybe have to pitch like 50 or 100 of them.
Hopping rack.
For our case, we didn't.
Which is good because you already raised a fund and then growing and then a sign.
But it was still time consuming for fundraising. It's not easy to.
I understand. Yeah.
When did you hire a dedicated HR person?
Very early.
Oh, really?
It's very important. So in the
okay.
early days of PassNap, after we raised our angel round, we made a lot of mistakes in hiring.
Oh, really?
Again, due to our lack of experience and capability. So we hired a lot of people. A lot compared, a lot then, not now. So we hired about 40-50 people within half a year.
Did you have money to pay their?
After we raised our first round of money. We thought, okay, now we have money, we can hire more people. So we started hiring quickly, but we didn't hire correctly.
I see.
And we didn't manage them or lead them correctly.
I see.
Everything is due to our own lack of experience.
Because you are a student.
Yeah, we were pretty much like students.
When you started the company, right?
So we made a lot of mistakes there.
I see.
And then we faced our first biggest challenge where the product, basically we hired of junior engineers who couldn't really build a strong infrastructure of the product. So the product completely crashed. To extent that it wasn't functioning at all. And we have to stop sales, have to stop everything, and rebuild the product from scratch.
Oh, Jesus.
And also our money was running low, so we had to fire 80% of the people that we...
That's very painful.
Very painful.
Very painful. Yeah.
So after that painful experience, our reflection is we need professional HR. Who would understand the people aspect of business.
Understand.
So in 2011, after that painful experience, the first major hire we brought on board was HR manager.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Back then, she's still with us. But she's not the head of HR now. But back then, she was considered a very senior hire. So salary is even higher than us. She was much more experienced. So that shows how importantly we thought HR was. So very early on, over the years we have been steadily investing in building up a strong HR organization. It's very, very important.
I see.
What is PetSnap's company culture like? How did you build it?
Yeah, we had many iterations of the pastime culture. We even have some variation for different part of office. For example, the US and the Europe side, they have a set of culture statement. And in Asia, we have a different set of culture statement, which is more suitable for the local culture. But a few common things there are, I would say number one is the customer first, or you call customer centric. This is very, very important.
Yes.
We are in the space, the intellectual property, the research and development. We're in the space that we have to learn from our customers. So we are not the expert. Our customers are the experts.
Customer first.
Yes, so we really need to understand customers properly instead of imagining and things, assuming and closing the door. So we take a customer-centric approach very seriously. And what I mean by that is the founders, the CEO, myself, and all the senior executive team, everyone visit customers.
I see.
So for every time when I, for example, again for the Japan trip, on average I will visit 8 to 10 customers every trip. And our CEO easily visit at least 5 to 8 customers on a monthly basis. And so we really find opportunity to go see the customer, talk to the customers, and even ourselves doing the product demo to the customer to see the
by
ourselves. Yeah, so customer centric is important. We also set up a customer success practice to make sure our customers are happy, satisfied with when they have questions, is addressed properly, professionally by our team. So this was also initially was a differentiating factor at early stage when our product was not so perfect.
I see.
Yeah, because compared to some of the incumbent big players, maybe they care much less about the customer. Their CEOs perhaps never see the customer at all. Right? Their senior executive team sitting in the headquarters, never meet any customers. But for us, it's very different. So the customer can feel that we care. So I think that makes a difference. Give us a differentiation through service. So this is one thing, customer centric. It's universal for all the pastime offices. Another thing that we strongly believe in is the growth mindset. So our CEO himself is like a growing machine. He's always learning, a learning machine, always learning new things, trying new things. And one criteria he used to evaluate everyone in pastime is, in the last half a year or last 1 year, how much have you grown? What new things did you do?
I see.
Yeah,
that's great.
How are you doing things differently, more innovatively? Yeah, he's definitely not satisfied that you are achieving the target by doing the old way. He wants to keep learning. So this mindset trickles down to different layers of the company. So, for example, in every offices we have a pastime learning day every year. Actually, every weekend. Nowadays, depends on the office. In the past, every Saturday morning we make it a learning Saturday. Everybody come to the office and we take turn to share stuff. Sometimes we also pay to invite external experts to share stuff. People sometimes will even bring their kids and dogs to the office for the Saturday learning day. And nowadays, I think most offices will do it on a monthly basis, self-organize the learning and sharing. And also we sponsor employees to go out to attend conferences, getting certificates, so help them upskill themselves. And like sharing good books and good content throughout the company. So learning and growing, this is something that's also everything starts from self-reflection. So self-reflection, learning and growing, this is something that we value a lot in the company culture. We try to do this through being a role model and providing resources for people to do that. I think I would say these two things are universal. And there are many other things as well.
So, what do you think? As a student, you will find a lot of useful information about this company, as it was founded by graduates of the Entrepreneurship Program at the National University of Singapore, and has since grown into a unicorn. Here, I will summarize some of the most important points from this thought-provoking discussion. First, be global from the day you decide to start a business. This may be especially important in Singapore, where the domestic market is small. But it is also important in Japan, where the domestic market is large. Developing a product globally after creating one based on the unique language and business practices of Japan is almost like starting over from scratch. There may not even be a need for such products overseas in the first place. So, please make sure to settle on a global outlook from the start. Next, evaluate the pros and cons of each market. The market must be big, and there are other factors to consider, such as competition, regulations, business practices, and more. Please act strategically. And above all else, have a customer-centric mindset. Whether you are an early-stage startup or a unicorn, your customers are the most important. Provide your customers with something that they really want. Also, when hiring, hire the best person for your company. The top star in the industry might not necessarily be the right person for your company. It takes as much effort to fire someone as it does to hire, if not more. Speed is important, but don't rush into hiring someone who is not a good fit. Lastly, the company has to have a culture of constant learning and pursuing innovation. This is important for any startup. Please watch this video as many times as you need for a reference when creating a global strategy for your startup. I hope that as many global startups as possible will be born in Japan. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next session.